Hi everyone, welcome to my channel GS2 Big Data. This is the Pandas tutorial series for data science. In this particular video, we will learn about grouping and aggregation mechanism in Pandas. GroupBy and aggregate functions are available as inbuilt API in Pandas. These are the frequent operations that you would often do on your data. This is also important in your EDA or exploratory data analysis. So basically what it does is whenever you perform group by, it would split the data into groups. It will do certain analysis on each groups and then combine the result and give it to you. And often you would also perform an operation by yourself on top of the GroupBy object. We'll see all that. One question that might come in your mind is why there is a diamond ring here. Well, we'll use a dataset called diamonds dataset and we'll apply this group by and aggregate functions on top of this group dataset and we'll try out few examples. And as usual, what we will do is we will import the required libraries and import this diamonds dataset for us. So it has done that, and I also want you to quickly pay little attention to its data, what is there in this data frame, right? So there is this something called carat, which is like the quality of your diamond, and then there is cut. So there are different types of cut. There is this ideal, premium, good, very good, and then there is also a clarity factor for every diamond, that is like SI2, SI1, VS1, VS2, and there are certain scales and standards to this as well. And finally we have a price column. For every type of diamond there is a particular price range defined, so that's there. Let's look at this data a little bit more in detail. So if I perform the describe, you can see what are the number of data that is present and what is the mean value of a price, minimum, max values, and what are the different percentage of values, right? And obviously this analysis doesn't apply much for the carat, but since it is a numerical column, let's just ignore that for now. So you have seen this price details, and then if you do this df.info, it will tell you that there are no null values present in the data frame, and price is integer value, the carat quality of the diamond, it's in floating number, and there are also objects in it, or object types, which are basically string types, the cut and clarity factors, right? Let's understand grouping in one dimensions. So one dimensions meaning what we are saying is we will apply this grouping or group by mechanism on a specific column, and then we will apply mean function on top of it, and we'll see how the data looks like or what data we get and so on. So this grouping is like your SQL group by function. So what we want to do is, you have seen the data frame, so we will group by, or we will apply this group by on cut, and then we will apply mean function on top of it. So means all these numerical values will have the mean applied to it, right? So we'll see this. So what we will do is we'll do df.groupby, and we are applying this on cut column, and then we are calling the mean function on it, right? So cut, we are grouping by it. There are different types of cut, right? Fair, good, ideal, premium, and very good. And the carat, obviously at this moment you should not be grouping or finding mean of the carat, but still it has found, right? So because these are the numerical columns, so carat has its mean values presented here, and so the price values. So I hope this is clear to you how you perform group by, right? One quick question, or often people make mistake using this group by, is that people feel like this group by would return a data frame or series by itself. Actually it does not. So it returns a specific object type from Pandas. So we'll see what object type it returns a little later. But before that, what I also want to show you is that, let's say you apply group by cut like this and you perform a descriptive analysis on top of it, right? So we'll see what it represents. This one is a little bit truncated, but I'll just zoom out. So what this one would do is it would perform descriptive analysis or descriptive statistics on each of your numerical columns. So you had two columns, right? Carat and price. So this carat, it has performed the count, mean, standard deviation, minimum and all that, and until maximum, and same it has done for the price column as well, right? So sometimes this is also helpful to get the little bit more insight about your data. So you can also do this as well, right? Let's go to the next part of it. So we have seen how you can apply grouping based on a single column or single dimension. Now we will see how you can perform it on multiple dimensions. So if you have to combine group by on top of two columns, how can you do that? So it's simple, right? In the array you just pass both the columns name. So here we are doing it, or we are grouping it by cut first, and then we are applying carat on top of it, and then we are applying mean function on it, right? So let's see. So you have seen that it would group by based on the cut, and obviously it is truncating because I have not set the max rows and all that. And then there is carat. It has grouped based on the different values of carat, and then for each carat what is the mean price value it has displayed. Okay, I also told you, like this one, this group by does not return a data frame and series. If you remember, we will see what it exactly returns, right? Okay, so same thing I mentioned here, like it does not return the data frame or series directly, but it returns a special panda object, and we'll see what it returns. And you can use that object and you can apply your aggregate functions on top of it, and we'll see what it returns, right? You might also think that group by can be applied only on data frames. No, you can also apply it on series as well. Okay, so if I try to understand the type of object that pandas return when you applied group by on top of it, so it is the type of DataframeGroupBy. Okay, there is a specific object called DataframeGroupBy, and you can use this and you can apply different functions on top of it, like mean, max, or you can have your own custom aggregate functions and so on. Next, we are going to look into what are aggregate functions and how we can apply different aggregate functions on top of the GroupBy objects that we get from pandas. So panda also provide something called aggregate interface, using which you can pass on a numpy functions to aggregate your data or aggregate your group, right? So you can perform different aggregate functions like sum, mean, max, and lot more, whatever numpy gives you. In fact, you can also write your own custom aggregate functions. We'll not see how you can write a custom aggregate functions, but that's quite possible. So to understand all this, what I have done is I have just used group object. I'll apply different aggregate functions on top of the same group object, right? So df.GroupBy cut, and you know like what it would return, right? If I just say cut group, in fact I should have called it as group cut, something like that. So you can see, right, it will return a data frame group by object to me, right? What we'll do is we'll apply aggregate function on a specific column first, and then we'll see how we can apply multiple aggregate functions on a specific column or specific group by objects, right? So here we are applying a single aggregate functions. So you have seen, like I had a data frame here that I created, right? Or I have a data frame group by object which is based on cut, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to apply aggregate on top of this. So you have this group object, and what I want to do is I want to apply the mean function on top of the price, right? You can directly call mean, or you can also pass the np.mean function to aggregate interface, right? So you can do exactly like this. Let me just copy over this, right? Think great. Okay. So what I have is I have this df group by cut, right? And then I'll call the aggregate function like np.mean function, right? So let's see what it returns. So what it would return is the mean value of the price, right? So you have the cut type, you have fair, good, ideal, premium, very good, right? And then it has returned me the different price of my data. Okay. I have another example where I am passing this aggregate function inside a bracket, and it's the same thing, you know, done in a different way. But here if you see, it has written me a data frame, right? So if I just pass this under type, you can see this is a data frame, right? But wherein in the previous case it was returning a series. Okay, this one is a series. Why? Because I did not pass this inside a square bracket. Okay, so that's the difference. So remember, if you pass the square bracket here, it will give you a data frame in return. If you don't pass, it will give you a series in return. Okay, just like here. Okay, now we will see how you can apply multiple aggregate functions on top of a specific group. We'll use the same one, and what I will do is I'll apply mean, median and standard deviation functions on top of this price column. You know what this one does, right? This one is df group by cut, and this is what I'm doing here. This one is also a data frame in this case. So cut would become my index, and then there would be 3 more columns, mean, median and standard deviation, based on the aggregate functions that I have passed, and it has given me the different values here. Okay, I have a quick thing to share. So I wanted to quickly take you back to what we just discussed. So if you look at this one, right, so df.GroupBy cut and mean, what it is doing is you would apply this mean function on top of all the cut values, right? So if you have like 50 rows on each of these cut value, you would perform mean on top of all 50 values and then all 50 values of the price, and then you will show it here, right? But what if I want to perform this mean but only on, let's say, top 10 or top 15 values? I don't want to go much in depth, right? I don't want to consider all the values, right? So for that, what you can actually do is there is something called nth value. Okay, what this nth means is you would only consider n number of rows when you perform this aggregate operations on top of it, right? So for example, if I specify df.GroupBy cut and price I will specify as 2, what this will do is it will only consider the top 2 values from each group or each category, and then it will perform this aggregate operation, right? So if you see here, I'm just considering the top 2, and you can see, right, it has considered the top 2. Let's say if I say like just consider top 10, you can see that the values are changing, right? And then I can also perform on top n number of values, I can perform certain aggregate operations. So I can perform, like, you know, perform the mean on top 10 price value, right? So that's it. You know, you can consider top n elements while you perform any sort of aggregate operations. Okay, so this is all about group by and aggregate functions. So if you like the content that I create, please do like and subscribe my channel. Thank you so much.